Hey guys, I'm Alex, and today I want to talk to you about a quote that I kind of live by, and it is my own, so oh well. Um, but it's you can solve any problem with any tool, but you can solve more problems better with more tools. And so one context for that is like you can literally think of, oh, like I've got a hammer and I can solve the problem of I need to hold these two things together with a nail by hitting it with a hammer. Um, but you could also have just one tool and that's a screwdriver. And if that's the case, you can still hit the nail with the butt end of the screwdriver. So it's still going to go in. And it's like you've now created a solution to that problem, even though you didn't have like the right tool for it. And more often than not, that's how we solve problems. It's like we look at them, we're like, oh, I've got a tool that works for that. It doesn't have to be the right tool. You know, you can eat soup with a fork if you really wanted to, and then like pull the bowl up to your mouth and drink from it. And then you've still eaten the whole contents of the soup. So, you can solve that problem of needing to eat with whatever tools you have available. And when it comes to having more tools, well, it just lets you do even more things. And it's like, yes, you could have solved all these problems, but you might be able to solve it faster if you've got the right tool. So for example, if we are trying to screw in a screw, we can use the hammer. Like there's the dull part of the hammer where you can hit things with it, but there's also the part where you like can remove nails, and that's relatively sharp, and you can stick it in the groove in the screw and turn it, and now you've screwed it in. Or you can use a screw like it's a nail, and you can still hit it on the head. It won't be as strong, but it'll still work. Now we add to our toolbox a screwdriver, and now we can solve this. We can solve it faster because we're not spending time like fighting the grains in the wood to nail in a screw. We're just screwing in the screw, which is much faster. And so now this new tool has given us more opportunities. But the thing is, a tool is not just something you find in a toolbox. A tool is literally anything you've ever encountered, ever. And so one of those things might be the things you learn in school. So for example, in reading, or actually in writing, let's say, like you can write an essay that is just like, here's what I know, and there you go. And it's just like a couple of sentences. Like if I ask you, what's your favorite type of food? You can say, my favorite type of food is pizza. And that's it. That's like your toolbox consists of you being able to answer my question. But now, what if I teach you about persuasion, keeping my attention? Well, then you might answer that question differently because now you've got more tools, more writing tools. And you might tell me, my favorite food is a thing that when you walk by an Italian bakery, hits you in the face like a past memory, and you breathe in the aroma of the cheese, and then you hear the slice of the knife going through the pepperoni as you add it layer by layer, slice by slice, to the pizza that is the result of 2 generations of a family owning this Italian restaurant and delivering all of their knowledge, all of their love for their culture to your plate. That's my favorite food, is that pizza made by these people who brought something with them and were willing to give it to you in the form of food. Like, that is going to be more interesting to read than my favorite food is pizza. So if you've got more tools, you can solve the problem better. Like, both people are able to answer the question, but this person is able to keep your attention more, and they might be able to answer other questions now that you couldn't really answer before. Like if I asked you, what is the best way to convince a group of people of something? Well, if you've learned about persuasion tactics, then you'll be able to answer that question, at least with more confidence, than if you haven't. So, the more you know, the more you can do. And it's pretty useful to just keep that mindset open. It's like any situation you're in, you have the tools at any given moment to solve whatever problem you're going to face or to answer whatever homework you have. But you might get a better grade, or you might be able to do more or be a better leader, or have a more interesting conversation if you know more, if you have more tools. So keep an optimistic eye on things so that you know that you always can solve a problem, and keep an open eye for new tools, because anything you come across, literally any piece of information you've ever learned, can be a tool to solve a problem with. So I'll give you one closing example, is that I led an a cappella group for 2 years, and while I was leading it, I learned a ton of things about engineering, because we had to look at, okay, we've got a group of people who need to learn something, who need to accomplish learning how to sing this piece of music. And so we broke it down to, well, what are the different parts of the music and who's got to know what? And then suddenly that's a skill that I can transfer to, I'm leading an engineering team, and we need to know what each person needs to know about the thing we're building and how to build it. And so that the notes on the page that were music have just become, go build this thing on a computer. And it's like, it's the same process of breaking it down, but it's just applied to something different. And actually, I've even learned like technical things from music, about like acoustics. Like, I would never have guessed that understanding how like the ear canal works gives me an understanding of the class I'm taking right now, which is vibrations. But the equations start to make more sense as you understand like how much does the eardrum vibrate, and like what different frequencies can you hear and why. So the more you know, the better, is essentially the punchline of this. I hope that was useful to you guys, and thanks for listening. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and leave thoughts down in the comment section. Bye guys.